Welcome. This is Happy Childless Mindset Podcast. Welcome to another podcast episode. I'm here with Lana Manikowski, if I say it correctly. And she's a coach. She's the founder of the other Brunch. And she's a podcaster that her podcast name is So Now What? And she also is about to release a book or publish a book that is also called the So Not Now What? Welcome, Lana.
Hi, I'm gonna just put it up here. So now what?
Yay.
That's the cover. So good to see you. So good to be with you. I love that we're here today. I feel like we randomly connected on like a Facebook group or something. I'm
Yeah,
trying
we
to
connected
remember.
in a Facebook group. I was following you on Instagram, but I wasn't really engaging in the comments, so I was kind of invisibly stalking you.
Isn't that what social media is for?
Yeah,
We can
absolutely.
stalk people they don't even know.
Yeah,
Well, I'm
absolutely.
glad that we're here. Either however we found each other, it's perfect.
Yeah, I think I believe in synchronicity and that kind of stuff. So maybe I wasn't prepared to meet you because I was really insecure when I first started as a coach, and I saw like people like you that are been doing this for a while now, like these unobtainable guests, and I'm working on it and I'm persevering. So
Well, it's just human nature, right? We always think that there's more that we've got to figure out until we're good enough. But if you don't start somewhere, then you're just always going to never feel good
yeah,
enough. So,
yeah,
yeah,
and I
I've been
think
there.
yeah, I think that our happiness in this unexpected path of childlessness, it's also a testament from that. We
Hmm.
started like we needed to start from zero again, building a new identity.
Totally. Yeah. And we just oftentimes feel like we're not as good as people who have kids and
Mm,
that their life is more abundant and more fulfilling than ours. So I feel like we've been dealing with this in many ways for a long time,
yeah,
especially as childless women. Yeah.
absolutely. Tell me about your book. When is
Oh,
it? It's already out. When is? I know you're giving free copies.
yeah. I'm
What is
doing a
it?
giveaway 10 free signed copies. So people are entering, and then I'm going to announce the winners at the end of March. But I'm not sure when if this is going to be released before or after. The launch date
I
is
think
April.
I think after.
Yeah. So you'll be able to find it on Amazon if you just search So Now What, or you search Lana Manikowski. But yeah, I've been calling my book my second baby.
Yeah.
And it really feels like that. Like my podcast is like my first baby. I had my first baby in 2021. It was called the So Now What or is called the So Now What podcast. And now my book, So Now What, is my second child. And I
Yeah.
really truly feel that way. It's like we don't always have to have a human in our lives or to have given birth to a human in order to feel like we're loving and nourishing and growing something. And you might feel that same way about your podcast. It's like something that you're always thinking about and
Yeah.
checking on it regularly, making tweaks to it, like all the things.
Trying
So
to
yeah,
learn more things and
oh,
tune it better, and yeah.
there's
Yeah,
always
absolutely.
something. Trust
Yeah.
me. I my podcast is not fancy. I know you asked me about my book, but I just want to put it out there. Like people just come because the message that you share, like obviously they want to hear it, and I've come to realize like I record my podcast myself, I edit it myself. I don't have guests because my podcast is 10 or 15 minutes long and I just don't have the bandwidth to edit not only myself but someone else. Like I already feel like it's so much work.
To
So
be
I just
honest, I don't edit. I just record and I don't edit because
you're
I
smart.
did that once and it was exhausting. I ended up crying because I erased some things that I shouldn't have erased, and I said like, fuck it, it's what it is,
Yeah.
and also I'm a sailor talking, and I don't care.
Yeah, maybe I should. Well, that's another reason mine are only 10 or 15 minutes long. So there's not much that I could screw up in 10 or 15 minutes. So, well, maybe. But anyway, back to my second baby, my book. It is really written to feel like we're just like hanging out and having a conversation. Like there's parts of my story that are kind of woven in. It's not necessarily about me,
Yeah,
but it's about a lot of what I experienced in my path to becoming childless. And I will bring in parts of, my story, things that I experienced to then create a connection with the reader so that they
yeah,
know that they're not the only one. Because I think a lot of us as childless women, we're used to not being able to feel like we're recognized. It's kind of like we're just sort of these people who are out in the outskirts of life. And I want
yeah,
this book to make you feel as the reader, like, I get you. Like, I know you're not the only one. And it's hard and it's unexpected and it's shitty, but also it doesn't have to feel that way forever. So
yeah,
I write the book to give the reader exercises to work on, some writing prompts, some journaling, some cuss words, some, everything that's like really authentic to me and really the things that have helped me navigate my journey because there was no one that helped me. I did it alone. And
I
I
ac
think that's worth
I
it.
actually find you because after I reach acceptance with my grief, I asked myself, so what now? Like
Mhm.
I'm not in this grief anymore. It never completely goes away, but I was feeling better and it felt like, so what now? And I found you and you inspired me to keep going
Love
and
it.
find what happiness meant to me, because it's not that there's no one recipe to follow, but sometimes we are looking for that, and that is BS.
Yeah, I know. We always want like the pre-paved path, It's like, okay, well, if you follow this roadmap, then all of a
Yeah.
sudden there's like daisies and rainbows and everything's like chirping and beautiful. But life isn't like that. And like you said, like this grief, it's never fully gone. It's just kind of
Mm.
part of our story, but it doesn't have to be the definer of our story. And I think a lot of times as women who are childless, we feel like we're supposed to be sad. Like the world expects us to be sad.
Yeah.
So if you feel happy and proud and these things that you want to feel, sometimes, I mean, at least I'll speak from my experience, like I'll sometimes find myself minimizing that because I'm like, oh, well, people aren't going to think it's really authentic because
Yes,
people
some
who had my
shame of
story.
guilt of
Yeah.
I shouldn't be feeling like this. But
And it's like, it's crazy because we're just like, we close ourselves off, like we pinch ourselves off of like leaning into moments where we want to be happy or proud or excited about the future because we worry that other people will be like, well, who does she think she is? Like, she doesn't have kids. She's not allowed to be this happy and fulfilled.
but I invited you to my Facebook group because I created it because I felt like I didn't exactly belong anymore in the childless community that is talking about grief all the time. And it's not that it's a bad thing, it's a necessary thing, but I wasn't in that stage anymore. And I needed to connect with other people that were like, I find happiness and I want to share my happiness. Yes, I do have struggles, but my life is fulfilled now. And I started that group and I started the podcast to do that, to connect with what is lighting you up in this life, not just what is keeping you so down.
Oh, I'm so glad you did that too. And we need more of that, and I talk about
Yeah,
that a lot. Like there's I think a time in our journey where we need the sadness and we need the
yeah,
support group that talks about how awful things are, just to kind of know, like, yeah, like other people are experiencing this. But I also think there's a time where you graduate from that. And
Yeah.
the coaching program that I started called Thrive After Infertility, I'm always really clear when people meet with me beforehand to learn about the program that if you're not ready to grow, like this isn't the right place for you. And that's not
Yeah.
a shaming thing. Like you still might need that part of your life that is really sad and you want to connect with other people who are still feeling that sadness.
Yeah, and bend and feel
Yeah.
validated. Yeah.
And that's, that is okay. Like we all go through these different changes and phases in our life. But if you're never given an opportunity to live bigger and you take advantage of it, then you're always going to stay in this place where you feel like you're in
Stuck.
lack. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you and I are like so vibing on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because yeah, I do that the same thing in my mentorship. It's like if you're going through the deepest part of grief, this group is not for you. It's not for you now. Maybe in the long run or in a month, but you're going to find that people are not just sad and venting all the time. We are trying to find the silver linings, and but I think our spaces are also necessary because I really needed the venting and the validating and the sadness spaces, but I also needed something else after. No?
Now I can hear you. Okay.
Yeah? Do you hear me
Yeah.
now?
Yeah. For a second there, I lost you.
I don't know why.
Yeah. Maybe it's me.
I hope you are enjoying this episode. If you are, please consider making a donation to the coffee link in the description. Okay, back to the episode.
But no, you were saying that people, there's a time when you need to move into that place, and that's what you offer your people is that place
Yeah,
where you can go. Yeah.
because I needed the sad space, but I'm not there anymore. And
Mhm.
truth be told, I'm an empath, so I can't be surrounded by sadness all the time because I start feeling so depressed and so low that it's hard for me to breathe. So I needed kind of an uplifting space too.
Yeah. And I love that you created something that you needed, and I
Mm.
think that's like the same thing for me. Like I needed resources when I left fertility treatments and I left the clinics,
Yeah,
and all they offered me was adoption and a donor egg service.
yeah,
And that wasn't what I wanted, that wasn't the right answer for me. And there were no other resources. And that's why I love people like you and me who are like, okay, well, if it's not out there, like, how can I create it? How can I bring it to you so that if you're ready to grab onto it, like
yeah,
I'm here and I'll bring you in.
yeah, or even like inspiring, like doing with your podcast and your book, and I'm doing now is even if you don't want to talk to us, there's a way for you to learn on what we did, and it doesn't have to be the same thing as I told before, but inspire to find your thing with curiosity. So I don't know, but for me, I tried, I don't know, running, it wasn't for me. I tried doing various things, and not everything that I was like told to do was good for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think running, you said that. I always laugh. I've always wanted to like love running, because people are like, oh, it's so therapeutic and could zone out. You can just sort of like see nature. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I only run when I'm chased, which isn't a lot lately, but I freaking hate running. I always like, I wanted to run. I want to love it, but I just don't.
Yeah, running is one the thing that went into my head because I just released the episode with a runner, and I
Oh,
told her like I can't run anything, and she was like, "Yeah, I ran 10Ks." Like it was nothing, and I was tired just to listen to her saying
yeah,
she
no
ran
thanks.
10K.
I know. It's like, I'm tired driving 10K. No, I'm kidding.
What are the things that you think brings you more joy nowadays?
Hmm. It's the smaller things, honestly. Like
Yeah,
it's walks. Like I live in a big city. I live in Chicago. So like for me, I just noticed it's springtime right now and all the tulips are coming in, like the spring flowers are coming in. And I look at that and I see like how even after like the cold winter and the snow that's been on the ground and the frost, like life continues to just evolve, eternally.
mm,
It just continues year after year. So I love like moments like that of just kind of seeing how I could mirror my life that same
yeah.
way and be
That's
okay,
exactly what I was thinking.
and when there's moments that I get sad, just being like, okay, like I'll get through this, it's gonna
Yeah,
just tomorrow's gonna dawn another day.
yeah,
So it's that type of stuff. For me, it's creating connection. We talked a lot about offering something that you didn't have. And for me, I started a meetup group here in Chicago for childless and child-free women. So finding opportunities to meet other women
yeah.
because all my friends who I still, I'm still close with my friends that have kids, but sometimes you want friends without kids.
Yeah,
So
and not
meet a
everybody
lot of people.
has that. A lot of us has lose a lot of friends because we are left behind or we are like not invited because I thought you didn't want to come or stuff
Mhm.
like that. This connection is
Yeah,
so important.
totally. And I think, for me, I wanted to bring other women together too, because I
Mm,
figured, I'm a very outgoing social person, and I know not everyone is like that.
yeah.
So I thought, well, if I could be the catalyst that I started this group, now there's over 600 people who are members of the
Oh,
childless and child-free women group. And, honestly, I started that group, my meetup group, when I had my first Other's Day brunch because I wanted
mm,
to and find other women who might have been feeling alone or sadness around Mother's Day. And so I started my meetup group from there. And my first brunch, I had 18 women come. Now I have over 600 members in this meetup group that started from zero.
yeah.
And so I get a lot of joy out of people meeting other people. Like I've always been in like my friend groups, like the one who introduces this one to that one. Like I love creating connection.
I have the
And
same role in my group.
do you? Oh my God, I love that. Like in my friend group now, like I'm the common person that everyone kind of like, we all knew each other separately. And now like there's four of us that are super close. And I was the one who introduced everyone, because I figured, well, if I think they're cool people, then they'll probably think that they're cool people. So like, let's all be
Yeah.
cool together.
And I'm also always curious to meet new people and listen to them and know what else can I learn, you know? So yeah, I'm always introducing people. And I love
Yeah.
that. I love making connections for myself and for others because loneliness it's so hard. So I don't want anyone to be lonely.
Yeah. It's hard to be lonely. It's it's easy to fall into the trap of being lonely,
Yeah.
but it's hard to like come out of it and find your place and
Yeah.
find like your relevance, I think is really because you hear people oftentimes minimizing your journey as a childless woman. Well, they'll be like, oh, well, one day it'll happen for you. Or you're like, no, like you're not hearing me. It's not going to happen for me. And you don't want to always hang your sights on something that isn't possible for you. And,
Yeah.
it's hard to feel as though you're connected with people who don't really take the time to understand what you're going through. And so
Yeah,
it feels isolating.
I felt like a lot of times I was the kind of a project to fix. Like they send me things about adoption or this new about this woman who had kid at 60 or things like that. It's like I don't want that. I want to like yeah, I'm childless, but it's not my only feature. I don't know how to say it, but
Yeah.
it's not my
Yeah.
only
Your only
quality.
trait or attribute.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So true. And I think if anything, like I've always been kind of like a rebel, like I was out, always the hellion kid who was getting in trouble and, sneaking out of the house. And, I was always stealing the car before I had my driver's license.
You and
So
I
I
are
was
the same person in a lot of things because I was that too, like the rebellious one, always questioning things and not following orders.
yeah. So I I feel like in some ways I love to talk about being childless because it feels like in some way like a rebellion thing, like, hey, I may be something that you think I can't be proud
Yeah,
of or I can't be happy about, but look at me, so I find myself leaning more into my childlessness because it's a way to show people like I'm not following your pathway of normal. I'm not going
yeah,
to shrink and be someone whose life is just like existing because I don't have kids.
yeah, absolutely. I I oftentimes like comment in posts or things like that in Instagram where I moms are like this or and I comment something like womanhood is not motherhood and it's just it makes me a little proud to be that rebellious dot in the in the society,
Yeah,
narrative. Because a lot of time it's like womanhood and motherhood are just the same thing, and they're not at all.
totally. Yeah. And I think a lot of it, sometimes I even wondered, did I really want to be a mom or was I just following this expectation of like,
Yeah,
that's just how your life falls into play?
yeah, I
And
wonder.
when I was going through fertility treatments, like, I went off and on for 7 years through my treatment journey. And towards the end, I think it was more so like winning, like, i.e.,
Yeah,
figuring out how to get pregnant, than it really was like getting
about
pregnant
being
and
a
having
mom.
a baby.
Yeah, and I
And I think,
often sorry.
no, I was just going to say, like, I think a lot of people get into that path of like, I just want to figure out how to be successful at getting pregnant or having a child when they've been on this path for so long because
Yeah,
you oftentimes, we're goal oriented women, we're women who are like very resourceful. How are we going to figure this out? And in hindsight, I just, I wonder, would I have pursued it as hard as I did, knowing that I could have been happy without the children that I thought I was going to have?
yeah, and I oftentimes ask myself if I would have been happy being a mom. Because I feel like I'm healing kind of in an onion shape where I peel and there's another wound or something else to heal, and I do have the luxury to have the time and the energy to do that instead of trauma, keeping that trauma and maybe passing it to my kid.
Well, it's a good point. Yeah. And I think too, like the choice to get to a point where you see yourself in that way is something that a lot of people don't talk about. Like they
Yeah,
don't, we're not encouraged to put ourselves in our mental health first.
yeah,
And so it's kind of like, oh, well, you should always do for others, like others before you, everyone before you. But
Sacrifice.
yeah, but like at what point is your life important enough and your
Yeah.
happiness, your healing and your journey? And we don't hear a lot about that.
I follow in Instagram a 19-year-old girl. She needs a hysterectomy. She is having a really, really bad quality of life because of she has endometriosis, and she's been denied a hysterectomy because what her future husband is going to think.
Hmm.
And so oftentimes we are look at that way. Our life isn't worth by itself, it's worth in relation with other things, our husband or our kids, and that's not it at all.
Gosh. Yeah, it is. I mean, it's this societal, what's the right way to say it? I guess like just that kind of this thing that gets passed down generation
Yeah,
after generation. And I often say, when I started being more vocal about my story and when I started my podcast, and, for a lot of people, that was like the first time they ever knew what I had been through. Like I remember my mom telling me, oh my gosh, I feel like a terrible mom. I didn't know you were going through all of this,
yeah,
but I just didn't really talk about it to many people. And, I'm close to my mom, but not like close like that, where
yeah,
it was just a lot for me to share. And I think, people would say to me, like, how do you get the courage to share? And I am like, well, I don't think it takes courage to be true to who you are, like that's it's a
yeah,
privilege to stand up and announce who you are and be in this point to be able to talk about it. But also I think about like that young girl who doesn't know that she can't be a mom, the 19-year-old that you just talked about. Like if she knew that her life could be okay without kids, maybe it wouldn't be as traumatizing, or maybe her mom or whomever is encouraging her not to have the hysterectomy. Or I think about the 7-year-old girl who thinks that that's what you're supposed to do. Like if they see more examples of women who, like me, says, like I really thought that's what I wanted and I couldn't have it, but I
yeah,
still figured things out. Like maybe there would be less emotional turmoil that people go through.
yeah, absolutely. I feel the same. Like I feel privileged that I can speak freely and upload the podcast and talk about it. And I want to kind of advocate for those who think that they have to be a mother, that their worth is that, and also to, as I said before, inspire the ones that are already childless and think that their life ended.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we know that's not true.
No. And I'm talking to so many people that are happy now in a regular life. The life I have, I'm not Jennifer Aniston, I'm not a celebrity, I don't have more resources or something that is unattainable. I clean my home, I have 3 pets and I scoop poop and I'm happy and everyone can.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people who are questioning us, like the outsiders who don't, or I don't know if I want to call them outsiders, but like people who aren't childless, oftentimes I feel like they look at us with like a level of doubt of like, oh, are you ever going to really, like, is that long term? Is that going to be sustainable?
Yeah,
Who's going to take care of you when you get older? Who's going to take you to the doctor when, you're sick? All these things. And it's like, for me, I just choose not to focus on that. Like, I'll figure it out at some point. Like,
I
I'm,
you froze.
is better.
You're back. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
No, sorry.
No,
Yeah.
I was talking about, is it better?
You lost
Okay.
your, is your
Okay.
computer connected? Did you, do you
No, they're
have,
doing, I live in the city and they're building a apartment building out here. So I feel like sometimes my Wi-Fi gets janky.
yeah. Do you want
So,
to retrace what you were saying
so, I lost my train of thought.
about the people that question or doubt that our happiness is
Yeah.
sustainable
Yeah.
and
Yeah. And, like, I'm sure that there'll be a day when I need a ride to the doctor and I don't have a kid to take me. But for me to sit here in these moments where I don't have to worry about that, like, why do I want to stress about those things? And so I
yeah,
think a lot of women are so worried about their end of life and how they're going to die and who's going to be there with them and who's going to make sure of all these things. Like, of course, those are legitimate concerns, but are those things that you can solve a problem for now? And if you can't, how much time of the goodness that's available to you in your life are you going to give away to these things that are really unsolvable
yeah,
until you come
it's
upon?
wasted time and energy because I don't know, I'm building strong connections to people so I don't get old alone. But not
Yeah,
with that mentality, but I don't fear to get old because I think I will have friends. And also I
yeah,
think having kids doesn't guarantee you're going to be taken care of.
totally. I mean, I see that all the time where, parents live here, their kids have relocated, across the US somewhere. They
Yeah.
come home twice a year, whatever it is. Like, okay. And it's
Yeah.
also not kids' responsibility. I mean, I get it, like they have their own lives. And so I think it's a skill that people just expect that because you have kids that they're signing up for a lifetime of caregiving. And I don't
Yeah.
think that's fair either.
No, it's not fair at all, and it's often not the case.
Yeah.
I I know more old elderly people that are alone that they are actually taking care by their kids. So yeah.
Yeah. So I just don't worry about those types of things that a lot of people think is like the worst case about being childless is that you don't have anyone to take care of you. And I just know I mean, I'll figure it out. It'll
Yeah.
happen.
Also, I feel people that criticize us, parents that criticize us, are often jealous. Like I had this neighbor in my previous home I rent. She and I didn't get along at all. And once she told me, "You don't have a life because you don't have kids." And I realized she felt like she didn't have life because she was dragging her kid everywhere and she was screaming at her kid all the time. And it hit me like she's jealous. She's arguing with me and provoking me because she's jealous. So I was able to let her go,
Yeah.
because she
And
thought that I don't know.
yeah, I think
Sorry.
a lot of women who are childless, like this is one of the things in my coaching program that I work on is like feeling relevant with what you do with your time, because
Yeah.
oftentimes like if you work, say, in a traditional workplace environment and people, are chatting on Monday, oh, what'd you do this weekend? Da
Yeah.
da da da. Everyone's like, oh, I took, you know, Samantha here and Joey here, and we had practice, and my whole weekend was, sports. And somebody asks you, like, what did you do? And you're like, oh, it was actually quite lovely. Like, my husband and I went for brunch yesterday. I had a party on Saturday. Like, I had a bunch of friends over, like, and there's oftentimes, I think, we enjoy our lives, but we feel like other people are going to look at us like, well, that wasn't really sacrificing enough, like as
Yeah,
though we're supposed
or
to like,
productive.
yeah. And it's like, well, I do a lot of productive stuff too. I mean, just look at all the things we talked about between the podcast and the book and the
Yeah,
coaching and
but we have
my
this
personal
notion
life.
of our life worth being what we produce, and that's not true.
Yeah.
I just saw Coco behind you.
Yeah, there she is. Hi, Cookie.
Hi.
She's never far away.
Mines are
And she knows right when it's
sleeping.
like when a Zoom call ends, like she knows right away. She like is comes right back down and she's like on on her back to come give her
Yeah,
love.
here is the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, I now that we are talking about our dogs and our pets, I think our life worth is about how much love we gave and felt, not about how much we produce. And I know pets are not for everyone, but you don't have to love a human being or a pet. You can love a plant or the world.
Yeah. And whatever it is, like it's not somebody else's like acceptance of it that's important. It's like
Yeah,
what about that thing like fills you up and lean into that. Because if you're
absolutely.
always waiting for somebody else to feel like, oh, okay, like you're allowed to love your plant, you're allowed to love your dog. Like for so long, I've talked about this before on social media. Like I didn't get a dog because I thought that people would think that I was getting a replacement for a child. And
I
so,
remember reading that post. Yeah.
yeah. And I think now I'm like, oh my God, like I love this dog like so much. And yeah, it's not the same as a child, but who's to know? Like, how do I know what it would have been like to love a child? How do I know if it's any
Yeah.
more, or less, or different? Like, I don't know. And
And
so
yeah.
I was so worried that people were going to judge me and be like, oh, poor Lana, like she's getting a dog now because she can't have a kid. And I missed out on like having my little Coco, but she's perfect. She's like, I always say she's an only dog and she does not like a lot of commotion. She doesn't like screaming. She doesn't like kids like jumping and all this stuff. Like she's just used to being in an adult household with the two of us. And she's super chill
Yeah.
and up for anything. And she's like the perfect dog for us.
Yeah. And I can't understand why people judge if we love a dog instead of a kid. Because I'm
Mhm.
not saying dogs are better or you don't have to have kids. It's my business and I love my dogs. What's wrong with that? And
I know.
also people complain about everything. You're going to find someone that complains you have a dog, other one that you don't have a dog. So if you're going to try to please everyone, it's impossible.
Yeah, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
It really
But you
is.
need,
That's why I love someone once told me, like, let them be wrong about you.
yeah,
It's like if somebody thinks that I'm doing too much of something or that what I have isn't enough or like they're
yeah,
wrong, like I know what feels right to me and what feels connective to me. So let them be wrong about me. It's okay.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Is there something else you want to talk about before we end this episode? Something I
Well, I think
forgot?
we covered off. I mean, my book being my second baby, my podcast, my first child, my Other's Day brunch is somewhere in there. That happens uh, every year, the day before U.S. Mother's Day, which our Mother's Day is always the second Sunday in May
May.
in
Yeah.
the U.S. I'm not sure how it is for you all in Argentina,
In
but
Argentina, it's in October, the third Sunday of October.
okay. So yeah, I do it the Saturday before Mother's Day, and it's just so much fun because people come from all over. Like people have come from Puerto Rico,
Nice.
California, Florida, Texas. I mean, and I love it. Like people are coming this year from Seattle, New York, California. I mean, it's just like, oh my gosh, like people, I don't know. I just think it's like takes so much courage to like get on an airplane to go after like something that you feel called and connected to seek for yourself. Like
Yeah,
to me, that is like so powerful. And those are the like type of women that childless women are, and
yeah,
I wish more people saw it from that lens. And even if they don't, I see it from that lens. And the Others Day brunch for me is just such a beautiful testament to see how many women are showing up for themselves and doing things that they need before
yeah,
Mother's Day.
yeah, absolutely. For me, the childless community is kind of a bittersweet that someone is there because I wouldn't wish someone to be childless, not by choice or by circumstance. But at the same time, we are so kind and nurturing and understanding that it's kind of, well, since I had to belong somewhere, I'm great here. So many good people.
Yeah, it's a very giving community. Like when I
Yeah,
was writing my book, part of the book usually have someone write like the foreword. So like a couple pages about like their take on the book, usually an expert in the field. So Jody Day, if you know Jody,
yeah,
she wrote the foreword for my book. And I'd never had any communication with her before. And when I reached out to her, she was just so gracious to do that.
yeah,
And then a handful of women who wrote and it's called an endorsement. So people that I was like, oh, they're in my eyes like these big beacons of childlessness, these people
yeah,
that push so much. And here I am, just, little old Lana in Chicago. And everyone that I reached out to said yes. And I was just like, wow, like what a giving community that we're just looking for ways to continue to cheer each other on and see each other grow. It's like not a competition. Like all these women pretty much have books that wrote endorsements or have some sort of platform for childlessness. And not one person was like, oh, no, like everyone was just, I don't know. It just really opened my eyes even further of like what a supportive community it is in the childless space.
I feel the same way with you. You are this coach that is been doing this longer than I am, and you are in my podcast, and you never ask me, "Oh, how many followers do you have?" Or because other people have asked me that, and it's like I'm trying
Oh,
to
like,
get a message across. It's not about my popularity or how much are you going to sell after this episode. But
yeah, that's not why I do this work. you know?
are I can actually count them with my one hand, the people that actually made that question. Most of them were like you, or yeah, I'm on board. Let's schedule a meeting, and I felt so grateful for that.
Yeah.
And as you
Yeah.
say, it's my baby. So for me, it's like, oh, my baby's growing and someone is coming to the baby shower.
Hell yeah. I know. Or every time you have a new listener, like if you look at your stats and you're like, oh my gosh, like
Yeah,
two people listened yesterday. Like it was just
absolutely.
like,
Yeah,
because, like
absolutely.
those are two people who might not have ever heard this message, and like for me, I don't
Uh,
get caught up in the numbers and the number of followers and, buying fake followers. It's like,
yeah,
people reach out and I'm like, if someone isn't the person that needs to hear me, then I don't need to inflate myself with like these numbers that are going to make me look like
yeah,
bigger and more attractive. Like I'm here for the people that need to hear what I have to say or need, something that I can offer them. And the rest, forget it. Like just too much fakeness.
yeah, absolutely. I feel the same way. I kind of celebrate every listen that I get. Not listener. It's like, oh, someone listened to my podcast. And yeah, and it's if I can help just one person, it's everything.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. So speaking of social media, where people can find you.
Well, I'm most active on Instagram. So Lana.Manikowski, but I also have a TikTok account, same Lana.Manikowski. And then YouTube um, is same. I just keep it all easy. You can do that. And
Everything of
then
my mine is everything is happy childless mindset because
yeah,
it's
it just
easier.
makes it easy.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I created like a free offering if someone wants to grab that. That's on my website. It's called lanamanikowski.com is my website. And then on the homepage, I started something called the top 27 things people say when you're childless. Because I noticed like as I've grown as a person and leaned more into my journey, the way I interpret people's questions or their comments about my childlessness has
Mm,
evolved. So I decided that I would do like this free giveaway that people could download
yeah.
called the top 27 things people say when you're childless with ways that you can respond to it too. Because, sometimes it can catch you off guard when somebody, you meet them for the first time and they're like, so how many kids do you have? And you're like,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's the other kind of, I direct you to my website and there's a lot of free stuff on there too if you want to peek through it.
Of course, all your handles and your website are going to be in the description.
Yeah.
Um, Thank you so much for being here
Oh,
and for your kindness and your openness.
I feel the same. Thanks for having me. And I know that we're going to be in each other's lives for a long time.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yes.